and welcome to the BetterU podcast, where we go in depth and get to listen to stories of hope, strength, and courage straight from some of the leading health, fitness, and wellness experts who help transform lives one person at a time. I am your host, RKaye, and we are joined by the lovely Soulsister CEO, Reiki Master Healer, Mindset, and I hope I pronounce this correctly, clar-action-ity Coach, J. Harvey-Yin. Hello, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me so much. It's so funny because I have a habit of making up words, but it doesn't roll off the tongue, that one. But I'm all about clarity and action.
And action, so correct.
That's what I'm the type of coach I am. You know, have to be unique, don't you?
Yes. Well, I do admit a lot of the guests that we've had, previous coaches and experts, everyone is really very unique. And that's what I love about the show. I get to talk with a lot of people who have very unique talents that they share to everyone, and that pretty much helps everybody. So, of course, to everyone who isn't yet familiar with the work that you do, Jay, what was it? Was there a special story in your life that happened that pretty much kind of pushed you to where you are today?
Oh my gosh. Well, I'm kind of, I'm in my senior years. So I'm coming up to 55 next year. And I have been in business my whole entire life as an entrepreneur. I started in the beauty industry as a freelance makeup artist, and then I went into a salon, and then I had a huge distribution business, and also a registered training organization that was government accredited. And then about 2017, my life pooped its pants. I hope I can say that on here. And I decided to leave my marriage, which, you know, I had a lovely marriage for a long time, and it was just hit its use by date, and it was time to move on. And so all of a sudden I was faced with this kind of thing where I left everything. So I was no longer the international, you know, beauty person traveling around the world, speaking on beauty. And I was kind of like, okay, I don't have a job. What am I going to do? And then I was like, okay, so I dive in, and I've really always wanted to make women feel better about themselves, because I think we're kind of have an inner biatch, you know, we're kind of mean to ourselves. And so I want to banish the biatch and get us to fall in love with ourselves again, which is kind of the process I went through after losing sort of my identity, I guess. And as part of that journey, I discovered Reiki, better than therapy. It was my Reiki mastery program was actually 18 months, every 2 weeks, 2 hours, one-on-one. Oh, see, better than therapy. And I really learned a lot about myself and the way the mind works and the way that spirit can help in the journey. Because I always felt so alone. Even though I have lots of friends, I always felt like when the chips were down, I was always the one that stood alone. You know, I have to solve all the problems myself. And I think a lot of women feel like that. You know, we wear so many different hats that we're not used to the hat that is actually ours. You know, the one that is actually J. Harvey-Yin. You know, I was so good at being the mum hat and the CEO hat and the educator hat and the this and the that and the da-da-da-da-da performing seal me that I didn't even know who I was. So Reiki was a big part of finding that in my journey. But in the meantime, I started a business in the disability sector with my best friend, a man by the name of Daniel. And we created this amazing business teaching people with a disability how to be social. And so my life is crazy fun. Like, we take them to the pub and we do discos. You know, so at 54, I'm a paid professional dancer, darling. You know, so funny at the discos, and we do bingo, and we teach them how to, you know, we do a lot of stuff with them. And the hands-on, we have a philosophy that it's not a teacher-student, it's not a you and me, it's an us. And so whatever they're doing, we're doing. So I spend a lot of my day creating art and showing different art techniques, which is really fun. It's beautiful. But as I was sort of through that journey, I realized that my mission in life has always been with the heart of women, even though I work with quite a lot of men, believe it or not, but it is really around women. My passion is for women to really shine their own light and fall in love and stay in love with themselves. But most of the time when we're asked, what do we want? There's crickets. They don't actually know what they want. And I'm really good at, sneaking in there and working it out with them and making them have a giggle and a laugh at themselves. And we laugh, we cry, we, do all the things. But we do work out what they actually want and what things are really important to them, and more importantly, why they're important to them. And so then we work together to create a plan. So I've kind of gone part-time in the disability business and working now a little bit more in my coaching, which I just love. It lights me up. It's not like work. Whenever I do a Reiki, I incorporate Reiki in every one of my sessions. So it's kind of woo. So I came from a very structured, traditional business world, and then all of a sudden I'm like, hang on a minute, Jay, you've gone a little woo-woo. So I kind of call it practical woo-woo, so yes, I can be woo with the best of them, but I don't make my clients dance naked under the full moon or anything crazy like that, which is, each their own. If you want to do that, it's great. No judgment. But yeah, so I became an NLP practitioner. I'm just about to finish my master's. And I do a modality called timeline therapy with lots of interventions that really work. So one of the programs that I offer, sorry, I get excited. You can just interrupt me at any time. I just ramble on. But anyway, one of the things that I'm really excited about is I offer, as part of my 3-month, it's called Breakthrough You coaching program, is an emotional cleanse. And the cool part about timeline therapy, have you heard about timeline therapy before?
Not yet. Could you let us know about it?
Yeah, so often when we go to traditional therapy, we go in and talk therapy, that is. So we've got something, not so good in our past that is affecting our lives and our future potentially. But we go and talk and we relive that trauma, and then, whoops, time's up. So then you go away and then you come back and then you have to start again and you relive that trauma a little bit more. Oh, crap, we've run out. And so constantly you're reliving over and over and over. The cool part about timeline therapy is that it's kind of magic. We go up into your timeline, we position it first, and then we go back into your timeline. And the cool part about it is that you find the root cause of the trauma. So we do anger, sadness, fear, hurt, and guilt in that order, but we'll go back to the first time you experienced anger. And actually it's bizarre because consciously you're not aware of when that was, but subconsciously, your subconscious mind is so clever. And we go back and then we rise above it and we look and learn the lessons. And so what ends up happening is that you can then reflect on a particular time in your life or a particular emotion in your life. You can still feel it moving forward when it's appropriate, but you don't have to feel all the trauma, but you receive a whole lot of lessons. So King Charles, when he was a prince back in the day, used it, this type of therapy for post-traumatic stress disorder with soldiers coming back from the Afghan war. And it was very effective because it's really amazing to be able to go back and learn. So I use the example of the very, very sad time in my life when my father passed away. And whenever I think about it, or when I used to think about it, it would just bring me back into that grief and into that sad moment. It's really sad. And so now when I go back, because I've done the work that, to clear that, I go back and I see it in a completely different light. I see it with joy and gratitude that we were there and around him in his last moments, and that we got to share a special bond with him. And so I don't feel sad about it anymore. It's just this beautiful feeling. And my clients feel the same way. We've had some amazing breakthroughs. It's so cool. Like, I get so excited. I could ramble on about it over and over and over. It's just magical. And so once we clean all those emotions, you have a lot of brain space left. So all of a sudden, all the poopy stuff that was clogging your mind is gone, and you have this spaciousness to discover what's next for you. And it's so powerful. And as a Gemini and a fast talker, if you haven't noticed, I do talk fast. I expect results. Like I expect results when I do something, so I want to deliver that to my clients. So sometimes when we're doing our traditional coaching, we'll be, planning or and I'll hear, when did you decide on that story? And it might be something like, I'm not good enough, or I can't spell, or I don't know how to talk in front of people, or, some story that we've been telling ourselves or been told for years and years and years. And I'll say, right, stop, close your eyes, take a deep breath, and I'll just jump into the timeline and get rid of that. And so my clients are really clearing out all that old stories. So it's really fun. Like, I love that because there's just so much space. So yeah, I love it so much. So that's kind of why I went into coaching, and this is me now. I just love it.
I just love the energy that you share with everyone. Like, even with your social media, like on Facebook and on Instagram, you just have that, for the lack of a term, what do we call it? Like an aura. You have like a different type of aura that it's just there, and everyone just sees it with what you share. Now, of course you do a lot, like you did explain, you do a lot of mindset coaching. Now, for everyone who hasn't really delved into that or hasn't really been too familiar with it, for you, what essentially is the first step for someone who wants to have a habit or build a habit of like just really getting in tune to their mindset?
So usually what I do, people come to me when they are feeling lost, cloudy, uninspired, no idea what's next. They don't know who they are usually, or if they had a very clear definition of who they are, kind of similar to my story, and lost, whether their kids have gone from home, whether their careers changed, those kinds of life-changing sort of situations. And my first step is, we just do a clarity call first of all, because I'm not for everyone. And I appreciate you saying about my aura. And I'd just like to speak to that a little bit, because I was brought up a little English girl who was, seen and not heard. And, I had lots of stories around that. I could only speak when I'm spoken to. And, those kinds of beliefs weigh heavy about being the good girl and doing all that thing. And I think for most of my life, up until the moment that I did leave the previous version of me behind, I hid a lot. Like, I was always, I was on stage and performing and but I hid the true me because, one, I was scared of being judged, and two, I just wanted people to like me, so I thought, I better just vanillaize this whole thing and just be nice, And since I did the Reiki and since I've done all this work on myself, I've realized it's okay not to be for everyone, and it's okay to sparkle. Like, I love to sparkle. When I'm crazy, like when I'm going to the shopping center, I'm like sprinkling fairy dust and smiling at strangers and have a great day. And I don't care if they look at me like I'm on drugs. I don't care, because I think that there's such a need for joy in this world, and people are shy to do it. And the other thing I'm trying to do more on social media is show my foibles, show the bits of me that aren't all together. I was very refined and controlled in what I would show previously. And now I'm like, you know what? Here I am. Love me or not, kind of thing. So I just wanted to speak to that, because I think that ends up being where my clients end up too. They're not making excuses for who they are anymore. I very rarely say sorry. Oh, sorry for being a bit loud. I don't worry about that anymore. And I can be, because I'm a Gemini. I have two arms. One time I'm very bright and vivacious, and then the other side I'm very quiet. So that's what I like to bring, both sides to the coaching experience with my clients. That's why we do Reiki every session. Quite often I'll bring in I love Oracle cards, so I bring in the Oracle cards. And if anyone is interested, I've got a free little course on Oracle cards, because I was selling them and people didn't know how to use them, so I made a little course. So if anyone wants that, let me know. Anyway, and yeah, so in the coaching journey, everybody is different. And my coach says to me, Jay, you need to find a niche. Damn the niche. Because some of my clients need relationship help. They've broken up, or they haven't had a relationship, or they need some help in the va-va-voom department, those kinds of relationship issues. Some of my clients are startup businesses that want me to put a little bit more my mentor hat on rather than my coach hat, which I just say to them, okay, I'm changing to mentor now. And then, okay, I'm back to coach. What do you think? Yeah, kind of thing. And then others are really lost emotionally and want the cleanse in order to move forward and work out what's next in their life. So I haven't the thing that I like about my program is that it's not a cookie cutter program. So it's not like, on week 1, we're going to do this. And then week 2, we're going to do this. It's pretty much, hey, let's talk. Just put your walls down. I'm quite good at that, by the way, in a loving, kind, delicious way. But I usually get to the bottom of it pretty quick. And then we can start to really affect change. I'm kind of a big cheerleader. I'm full of love, but I'm kind of a little bit mean in a loving way. Like I'll say, right, your homework is to do this. Go on and do that, And then the clients that do it, there's so much change. And my aim is for my clients not to need me anymore. Like, that is my aim. I obviously want them to keep coming because I'm so nosy and I want to know what's going on with their lives. But my ultimate aim is that they don't need me anymore. That they've got their lives together and they're just feeling so much joy and clarity and know what's next for them. So, yeah, I don't know if I answered your question, but maybe.
Thank you for sharing that, Jai. I believe quite a few of the guests that we've actually had on the show have had that statement. Eventually they want their clients, their customers, their patients to be well and do everything and be able to do things even without them. It's sad sometimes, but yeah, that's pretty much your goal as well as a coach. You want the people that you get to work with to be able to be independent eventually. And speaking of your clients or the people who you get to work with, has there been a special client for you so far that has had such an amazing transformation that you just tell yourself, you just tap yourself on the shoulder and tell yourself, oh my gosh, she did such a wonderful job, and it kind of makes me a very proud coach?
Well, yes, I can think of a few of them actually, but there's this one particular lady who, she's got it going on. She doesn't realize she's got it going on, and so we kind of dived in and created a new business model for her. And the thing that I love about her the most is that she shows up. And she doesn't cry, but she cries in our sessions. She's not a crier. And she's like, Jane, how come I'm crying? I'm like, I'm so sorry. It's perfectly fine. I'm crying with you. It's okay. Don't worry. But she goes off, and every week she does her home play. I don't like calling it homework. So she does her home play, and then she'll come back, and she progresses so much more because of that, because she puts in the effort. And it's just so nice to see her now. Some of the, don't like them to call mistakes, but some of the way she would have reacted a year ago. She's been with me just about a year now. And we've gone from business to personal, back to business, back to personal, and she's just strength to strength to strength to strength. And I think it's lovely when you see that transformation, and it's because they believe in themselves to do the work. Like a lot of people, I have the odd other client that goes, I just did the work last minute because, I knew I was coming on today, and that's fine. I'm guilty of that too sometimes. That's what a coach does, keep you accountable a little bit, because you know that you've got to show up and say what you've done or not. But She always does this stuff. And the way I have it set up with my clients is they have access to me through their coaching program on Voxer. So I don't know if you've ever used Voxer. It's so cute. Sounds like a little walkie-talkie, and it makes this cute little sound, and someone's coming. And I chose it because not everybody uses Voxer, so they know that that's our space. And she's constantly messaging me, this happened and this happened, and I'm like, yay! And it's so nice for me to be a big part of it as well. Saying that, like, none of my clients take the mickey. They don't overuse my generosity. So it's really awesome. I've got the best clients ever, just saying, because they do the work. Most of them do. And then I can also think of a man that I coach as well, and he was coming out of a relationship and wasn't handling it so well. So we did a little bit of the clans, and and I thought he was ready to leave. Done, like we'd done a couple of rounds, and I'm like, yep, okay. So I think this is gonna be goodbye. And he goes, why would I stop now? And I'm like, oh. So he kind of shocked me, and I was like, okay, well, sure, you can keep going, kind of thing. So that's really nice. It's nice to know that our sessions impact their life and make a difference for them. It just lights me up so much. I could just do a happy dance every day after calls with my clients. It's so good. And my partner, he sells junk in the most loving way. He calls it collectibles and antiques, but I call it junk. And he's amazing at his job, but he doesn't use a computer at all. And so he doesn't really know what goes on in these Zoom sessions, It's like, I don't know, you're just on the computer kind of thing. But it's beautiful that you can spend time with people. Like, you're in Canada and I'm in Australia. Like, that's so cool. Exactly.
It's
amazing. It's amazing.
And yeah, like it's always great to like get to work with people, and sometimes we tell ourselves like our clients are like a reflection of ourselves, and there are certain instances where you're like, it's amazing to be connected with someone who's unique but at the same time similar to you, right? So being a coach is like, it's something that you can't really explain to someone else, but yeah, like coaches understand each other in terms of that, right?
It's the best job ever. It's the best job
exactly.
Ever. You basically get paid to talk and see people just pass through old shit or old stuff. Sorry.
Exactly, Jay. Now, of course, I would like our talk to be like tremendously long, but we gotta wrap things up, unfortunately. But of course, I will hopefully have you in the future episodes.
I love that.
But before we do get to say goodbye to everyone watching and listening to us today, is there something that you would like to leave them with? Maybe a quote or a piece of advice that you would like everyone to know, or that they can start out today for themselves?
I can't think. I can never think of a quote when it's time. So that's the first thing. First thing I think is be kind to you. And when you notice the inner biatch showing up, just tell her to back off and remind yourself that you wouldn't speak to somebody else like that. And so kindness goes a long way, but even more it goes a long way within when we're kind to ourselves. And, it might not have been trendy to be kind and, popular back in high school, but now it's very popular. It's very, you're the best type of person if you're kind. So be kind. That's my final word. You're grateful and kind. It's my life.
I do love that piece of advice, because let's just say the world is generally cruel, and yeah, we do need to have more people to be nicer, right?
Yeah, it's true. It was an insult at high school. I got called nice, and I was like, oh, shut up. I want to be the cool kid. But now I'm like, I'm owning nice. I'm owning her. I'm allowed to be nice. Rainbow dust everywhere, I say.
Exactly. Well, all right, guys. So we do need to wrap things up. But of course, to everyone who gets to watch this episode and listen to us, I will be leaving Jay's details, all her wonderful social media links, in the description box below. And by the way, Jay has her book. Can you show us your book?
Yes, I wrote a book. How cool is that? I'm so in love with myself for the fact that I actually did it. And I wrote it in 13 days.
Nice.
Just to prove I could. So it's called Write Less, Discover More. It's a journal for people who don't like to write.
All right, so perfect timing with showing us, Jay. And of course, I will also be leaving the links to her book in the description box as well. All right, guys, thank you so much
for having me. Bye.
For joining us today. Of course, Coach RKaye here, reminding you to never give up on your movement journey, because it's never too late to move. Bye-bye, guys. Thank you, Jay. See you again next week, guys.